Hello. Thank you, Honorable Minister.
Thank you.
Journalists are here, and they are ready to hear from you. Just before we take any questions, you may want to say something.
Thank you very much. I'm really ready for questions, but I'm happy to have this opportunity once again. We've met a few times already this year as Minister of Foreign Affairs and as government spokesperson. I'm happy to interact with you. This has been a very, very busy time in Rwanda and in Kigali in particular. We've had a series of high-level meetings here in Kigali, bringing thousands of guests to this country. We have had quite an intense diplomatic activity. We have received several heads of state. We have traveled to different countries in the last several months. The President is busy working on reforms of the African Union that the African Union Summit tasked him to do back in July. We're getting ready to go to Marrakesh for the climate meeting, COP22, in just a matter of days. It's almost the end of the year, so this has been a very good year for Rwanda, but also a very, very busy time. So I'm happy we have this afternoon, the next 30 to 45 minutes to interact with you. So, ijambo ni ryanyu.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you.
If you may allow, I think let's take a round of 5 questions, and then if time allows, then we'll come back.
Right.
Mwai?
Thank you very much. My name is Kodit Moy. I write for the New Times Daily. I have two short related questions. You talked about the African Union reforms process. Since the President established the 9-member team, what are some of the expectations that we can have, or what are some of the reforms that you're working on in terms of how will the new face of the African Union look like? What issues are you looking to address? Because you say that it's to improve the socio-economic and political interventions of the union. So what key issues are you working on? Then lastly, you talked about the president and a number of senior government officials being on. So I was saying, in past weeks, we have seen the president and a section of the cabinet travel a lot to a number of African countries. In what you have said is to strengthen bilateral ties between Rwanda and a number of countries. But have you had specific interest, or have you had specific interest, or were you pursuing specific needs during the travel to the number of countries, Mozambique, Congo, Brazzaville, Gabon, and other countries, and what can you expect out of it? Thank you.
Maybe let's make it clear, everyone should ask at least one question to give chances to others.
At least or at most?
Thank you. My name is Magnus Mazimanga from Kigal today. My question is about the team that is working with the president on that project of AU. One of the biggest problems we're facing, including politicians, businessmen, and all Africans, an issue that has been discussed for ages, is the unfair coverage of the Western media across the continent. This is something politicians, the academia, everyone has complained about. We have great men with a lot of resources and money and politicians who are interested. What is it that we haven't created a media that is able to give Africans a platform to have their say? Is this something that the president that has discussed with his team and possibly have a solution to? Thank you.
The other side.
Murakoze cyane Minisita, nitwa Jean Claude Mutuyeyezu, umunyamakuru wa Jean Claude Mutuyeyezu na Petro RBA. Wagira ngo mugire icyo mutubwira ku mubano w'u Rwanda n'Ubufaransa kugeza ubu ngubu, n'ibinashoboka mutubwire kuri aya matora yabaye ejo muri Amerika, mu nyungu zaba zihari kuri politike n'imibanire y'ibihugu byombi.
Murakoze Minisita, nitwa Edith Nibakwe, nkorera Isango Star. Ikibazo mfite ni ikijyanye n'imibanire y'u Rwanda n'u Burundi. Nk'uko tubizi, mu gihe cyatambutse habayeho guhagarika ubuhahirane, aho imodoka zitambuka zitwara abagenzi cyangwa se ubuhahirane ku bijyanye n'ibiribwa. Uyu munsi abaturage b'ibi bihugu byombi bakoresha inzira zo mu mazi. Birasa nkaho bakora forode kugira ngo bari bageze amafi mu Rwanda, indagara. Abaturage twaganiriye rero baravuga bati izi nzego abayobozi bacu kuki badashobora kuganira kugira ngo ikibazo gikemuke, ubuhahirane busubire nk'uko bwari busanzwe. Tukagira ngo mutubwire ni hehe bigeze ku kibazo kijyanye n'imibanire y'u Rwanda n'u Burundi. Murakoze.
Let's stay on this round. Wilson over there. Comply.
Murakoze nyakubahwa Minisita, nitwa Wilson Twagira, nikamungu abanshya icyayi cyo Burundi nacyo ariko gishingiye kuri tension rero cyo kuvuga ko hari abarundi baje mu Rwanda baciye mu mazi bakarashyirwa mu Rwanda ndetse Rwanda babihakana. Please mutubwire situation munsi ya discipline. Murakoze cyane.
Thank you very much.
Katuma dusubije ibyo ngibyo. We already have 7 questions. Well, first of all, on the exercise under the leadership of President Kagame on AU reforms. One, there is only so much I can tell you in a press conference because the work is ongoing. The work was commissioned by heads of state. Therefore, understandably, they will be the first ones to know what the content of the work of the reforms is about. But I can tell you a few things. So please don't expect specifics on the reforms because it will not be proper to discuss the specifics of the proposals by the President of the media before those who commissioned the reforms are informed. Now, you asked the question of what issues and what's being discussed in the reforms and what the African Union face would look like at the end of the reforms. The reforms of the African Union are of two kinds. One is organizational, that is the technical work of the commission itself, how it's set up and how it should be managed and so forth. The other one is political, because when we talk about reforms, it's to fit a certain purpose. The African Union is a political organization, and therefore you have both the managerial part, but also the political part. So what the President was asked to do was to make some proposals. He was given the leeway to organize as he sees fit. That's how he decided to bring on board a team that would help him, that he would direct to provide a certain level of expertise, both in the managerial, but also in the politics of the African Union. So I would say what is expected to happen once the proposals are made, the options are given, the leaders have been taking part in the discussions and given their views, is a more efficient, more focused Commission of the African Union, and the organization itself, beyond the Commission, serving the current and real interests of the continent. And if I can take the opportunity to respond to the question of how the continent has been for a long time depicted unfairly and in the Western media, and is the scope of the reforms also covering that aspect of the narrative of the continent and so forth. Well, let me say this. It is true that what is said about Africa is mostly said by non-Africans, and not only, but mostly by non-Africans, and it's largely inaccurate. That is a fact. But a big part of it is us Africans, that we allow others to define us and talk about us and give account of what we do and who we are and our aspirations and our work. So this, I think, is beyond just reforming a Commission of the African Union. I think this is a matter, it's an important question that you pose. It's a matter of great importance. We live in a world where if you don't define yourself, somebody else will do it for you. If you leave a vacuum, somebody else will fill it. So I think, obviously, if we have a better organized Commission, a more efficient, more focused Commission, that will speak for the continent. But in terms of more specific, targeted depiction of Africa, this is going to take more than heads of state, and I'm glad that the question is coming up here in a press conference, because I think that's also a question I should turn back to you and ask you in the profession what you are doing, what you think we should all do together. How can we make sure that our continent does not continually be depicted as a continent where things don't work, where, you know, as we have seen Africa depicted as a continent of brutal leaders and victim citizens. We all know that is not the case. So we need to work together on this one. I think on this one, perhaps you should give President Kagame some views and some suggestions on how we work on an objective picture of Africa. We do not think, we should not be looking for embellishing. We should be looking for giving the reality of Africa. By the way, the issues faced, the continent faces are also, many of them, issues faced by the rest of the world. But the rest of the world is louder on the continent than ourselves on the continent. But this said, I think we need to be also objective and modest in acknowledging that there are many, many things on the continent that we should be doing better. So part of how the continent is described certainly is true. What we regret is that all the many other good things happening on the continent, a vibrant youth, very driven young people, women doing amazing things across our villages and our cities, the advances in technology, good governance in some parts of Africa, all that has been lost. But you know, I think you all in the media and all of us Africans have the responsibility to make sure that Africa's voice is not distorted. So, you know, on behalf of the President, I would request that if you have good ideas about bringing this objective narrative of Africa into the reforms, I'm sure he will be very happy to look at your suggestions as well. The question on the recent travels to various African countries by the President and other government officials, you would have noticed that our country has been, I think, expanding its horizons. We've opened several diplomatic missions in different parts of the world. We have, if you follow closely what happens here in Rwanda, we have been receiving delegation after delegation from different parts of Africa. As we speak today in Kigali, we have at least 5 different country delegations exchanging with us and looking at some of the practices here. So it's only normal that Rwanda also would go to these countries in what we believe is a very important kind of traffic, and that is the traffic from African countries to African countries. So the recent activities in various African countries has to do with what we think is beneficial bilateral relations. It also has to do with regions. You mentioned that the President was in the Republic of Congo and in Gabon. These are important countries in Central Africa. Rwanda is back in the economic community of Central African states. We've pledged to give some level of contribution and to take back from other countries as well in the central part of Africa. So we are only doing what countries should be doing. We perhaps, I think at this point, feel that it's even more important that Africa works together, that Africa works in a united way, that we give and take from one another. Our experiences are closer to what we get from other parts of the world. So this is all just really good diplomatic and political activity that we should be conducting. You will have noticed also that, and so specific takeaway from these trips, usually very good political connections, but also important economic benefits. You have noticed that our national carrier, Rwanda Air, has expanded its routes across Africa. It's acquiring a larger fleet of aircraft to serve primarily the continent and other parts as well. We're looking at in the near future the United States, the United Kingdom, probably China, India, but our primary focus with our national carrier is African destinations. So there is, and of course, always trade, investment, exchanges, technology. So there is a lot of economic benefits as well as, the necessary political connection between amongst African countries. Rwanda and France. I will say two things. One is that the ties between Rwanda and France have been affected by the actions and the involvement of France as a state, also specific individuals in the French establishment, both military and political. In the genocide that took place in this country in 1994, it's not a secret. France has had a level of support to a government that killed 1 million of its people. It's been documented widely, both in France and in Rwanda and in other parts of the world. This is not a secret. And so we knew from the get-go that it was not going to be easy to conduct normal bilateral good relationship activities with France. So we decided that we should figure out a way to mend the relationship, to eventually and progressively reach a level of collaboration that is normal collaboration amongst countries. But we have reached a point now, 22 years after the genocide, where we realize that France is not interested in a good relationship with Rwanda. Official France says one thing, but another level of activity in France, in different institutions, does the opposite of what official France says. There has been a number of negative activities towards Rwanda in different circles, in the multilateral world, in our own neighborhood, sometimes through various little conflicts in the region. And of course, the part that probably has been in the media quite a lot recently through this so-called judicial process, which we all know is not a judicial process, it's politics. It's politics being played through a court system, through judges, through cases, and so forth. But let me say this. We as a country, Rwanda as a country, has reached a point where we have to say the activities, the attitude, the unrepentant, the belligerent attitude and actions of France are no longer acceptable to this country. We have tried for a long time in very difficult circumstances to accommodate what we think is the right kind of approach to building a relationship, that has been strained for the reasons that I just mentioned. But for every effort Rwanda has made, France has taken a step back and even gone to undermine clearly this country in many different ways. The recent case, which I think even the President of the Republic talked about recently in the opening of the judicial year, is only one of many negative activities that have been conducted in France. Let me say two things about this plane crash that France has been clutching on and holding on and trying to drag over the years above our heads in Rwanda. One, the genocide was not caused by a plane crashing. That is a fact. The genocide was premeditated, it was planned, it was just waiting for a signal to get started. Two is that if there is a country beyond Rwanda that was aware and that was active in the preparation of the genocide back in the 1990s, it is France. France had political advisors to the genocidal government. France had military advisors and trainers for both the army and the militias that were involved in committing the genocide. France had detached intelligence officers to the intelligence system of the genocidal government. I mean, these are just facts. There are names, there are faces. This is not something that is fabricated. It's information that is out there. And we believe as a country that perhaps our willingness to rebuild the relationship has been not appreciated by France, that perhaps seen as a sign of weakness. It is not. What I can tell you is that in the next, in the very near future, and for the next many, many years, we as a country believe that we need to put out in the open all important information implicating, clearly showing the implication of various French officials, the military, the politicians, the intelligence, different individuals that have played a role in the genocide in this country. So that's where we stand right now. We've made efforts even to collaborate with the case, which we knew was a political case, which we knew was not really a legal case, hoping that that would perhaps lead us to a point where we can start rebuilding the relationship. We've subjected our officials to interviews and interrogations. This latest findings of information by Mr. Kayumba Nyamwasa is nothing new. This is the third or fourth time that this so-called explosive information has been, put out. The lawyers of Kayumba Nyamwasa approached the French judges. The French judicial authorities attempted to collect information from South Africa where this man is. This is the fourth time. So this cannot go on and on. The case has been closed actually twice by French judges. First in 2014, in June 2014, and more recently in January 2016. So clearly, we are far away from what should be justice. A case cannot be open-ended. A number of genocide suspects, hundreds of requests by our justice and prosecutorial authorities have been submitted to France. Not a single case out of hundreds has been conducted to closure. There is not a single case that has been tried in France and concluded. So this sort of judicial harassment is not something that Rwanda is going to put up with for much, much longer. So that's where we are with France and Rwanda. We regret that France did not think our genuine offer to rebuild the relationship was a good one. But similarly, we are not going to be subjected to judicial bullying for a long time. It's not something that we as a country feel should happen. If we were to be right and fair, I think the harassment should be conducted on France, not on Rwanda, precisely because of the information that is out there on the involvement of individuals quite high up in the French establishment. So we will use all the means at our disposal to conduct professional investigations. We will use the information we have. We will request France to allow our investigators to have access to particular individuals, politicians, officers, and let's see what happens. U.S. elections. U.S. elections were yesterday, and I'm sure amongst yourselves, as with all of us, it's been on everybody's lips and mind. We as a country, as you saw yesterday, the president and the country congratulated both the president-elect and the people of the United States for the elections. What I can say is that as a country, we are ready to work with the new administration. We've had a very good relationship with the United States, especially in the last 2 decades. That relationship remains very good. And so for us, it's a question of getting acquainted and working with the new team. But the choice is for the Americans to make, but the relationship, of course, is something that we have to reinforce and continue to build on the already very good relationship that exists. There was a question about these elections on maybe what it means for us. Was that the question? There was a sub-question.
kubaza niba hari inyungu zikomeye mu bihugu byo bishobora kubona cyane cyane mu Rwanda cyane cyane iriya n'ibindi cyose.
Okay. Kwanza nikamusubize mu Kinyarwanda. Amatora yo muri Leta Zunze Ubumwe za Amerika yabaye nk'ejo, nk'uko mwagiye mubikurikira, yari amatora atoroshye. Igihe gishize harimo abakandida barwanira umwanya wo kuba perezida wa Leta Zunze Ubumwe za Amerika. Abantu benshi barabikurikiye ku isi. Amerika ni igihugu politiki zacyo zifite ingaruka kurenza imipaka y'igihugu bwacyo. Niyo mpamvu abenshi cyane twagiye tubikurikira mu buryo bwumvikana. Twebwe nk'u Rwanda twashimiye nyakubahwa perezida wa Repubulika, yashimiye ugiye kuba perezida wa Amerika watsinze amatora ejo. Igihugu twaranditse nk'uko bisanzwe biciye muri Minisiteri y'Ububanyi n'Amahanga dushimira uwatorewe kuzaba perezida wa Amerika ndetse na leta n'abaturage, kubera ko ari igikorwa gikomeye cyane kandi cyarangiye gikozwe mu buryo babyifuzaga, abanyamerika babyifuzaga. Nibaza rero ko twebwe igisigaye ni gukorana n'abayobozi bashya, nihamara kujyaho leta, cabinet, abakozi bashyashya bakorana n'ubu buyobozi bushya. Tuzishimira kumenyana nabo no gukorana nabo. Ibihugu byacu byombi, u Rwanda na Leta Zunze Ubumwe za Amerika, dusanzwe dufitanye umubano mwiza, cyane cyane muri imyaka 22 ishize. Amerika ni igihugu gifite ingaruka uko nabivuga ku bindi bihugu byinshi mu isi, kubera ko ari igihugu gikomeye cyateye imbere. Ni ukuvuga rero ko iyo hajeho ubuyobozi bushya bifite icyo byo bihindura ku isi. Icyo navuga wenda ni uko twebwe mu Rwanda, nibaza n'abandi n'ibindi bihugu byinshi, ngiye ntavugira u Rwanda ko nicyo gihugu cyanjye nabasha kuvugira, ni uko ari amatora ya Amerika adufitiye isomo ry'uko abanyapolitiki bagomba gutega amatwi y'abaturage. Ibyo nicyo kintu gikomeye cyagaragaye muri ariya matora. Ushobora kuba umunyapolitike ukajya ku kazi ugakorana n'abandi banyapolitike, ariko ni ngombwa yuko dusubiza amaso hariya muri local government tukareba icyo abaturage bifuza. Numva ari ryo somo twebwe n'igihugu ndetse n'ibihugu byinshi ari ku mugabane wa Afurika ari n'ahandi, iyo abaturage bavuze baba bavuze. Ni ngombwa rero yuko ibyifuzo byabo, icyo batekereza, ubuyobozi butagenda bwikorera ibindi, ariko butabona yuko abaturage bashobora kuba bafite ikindi batekereza cyangwa ibindi byifuzo. Twebwe rero nk'igihugu inkingi ikomeye y'ubuyobozi bw'iki gihugu ni abaturage. Twabahaye umwanya bakwiriye, dukora uko dushoboye kugira ngo twumve icyo bifuza, dukorane nabo, twungurane ibitekerezo. Ariko amatora nk'ariya akomeye mu gihugu gikomeye atwibutsa yuko mu by'ukuri kuyobora ntabwo ari bizinesi y'abayobozi, ahubwo ni bizinesi y'abaturage. Ndumva ari ryo somo twebwe twumva twarakuyemo, nibaza nk'uko nabivuze ko n'ibindi bihugu bashobora kuba ari uko babibona. Rwanda and Burundi, as you all can see, the situation in Burundi has calmed down, but problems have not been resolved clearly. What we have done as a country, as we've said it a few times, including in previous press conferences, is that the best way for Rwanda to contribute to Burundi's recovery is to try and stay away from controversies from Burundi. Whether it's provocation, whether it's incendiary statements, and all kinds of other unreasonable behavior we have seen since the beginning of the crisis. We've just decided to calm down, and we feel that that is the best way for us to not aggravate the situation and to hopefully contribute to the recovery of the country. The problems have been going on for almost 2 years now. And so we hope, unfortunately, there is only so much one can do for another country. It's a sovereign country, it makes decisions. It's unfortunate that the traffic of goods across our border has been slowed down. It's unfortunate that the citizens, the poor citizens on the other side of the border are not allowed to cross the border and sell their goods, as that is their livelihood. But again, there's not much we can do. It's not our country. We can only do what we can do on our side of the border. We remain a very open country to good sentiment, good relations between us and Burundi. Burundians are brothers, they are neighbors. We share quite a lot. But these decisions are made by leaders of countries, and we have no influence over a different kind of attitude with the leadership of Burundi. So, but I think it's probably more costly and more unfortunate for the people on the Burundian side, because on our side, I think our people have more opportunities. They have every opportunity to do trade with other countries, to actually get an economic life inside the country. So it's just unfortunate. As I said, we are only in Rwanda and we can only do what we have the power for, which is to impact positively the lives of our people. We will have to let the decision makers on the Burundi side to change their minds and allow their people to make a living doing business in Rwanda. Last question was actually also on Burundi, but I think I've partly responded to that. That unfortunately, some of the citizens are using maybe even dangerous ways to cross the border to try and make a living, to sell their goods and their produce. What can we do as leaders? Not much. until we get you know, the leadership in Burundi to pay attention, to understand that this is a problem. This is a two-way street, unfortunately. It's not a one-way street. And given the belligerent attitude, as I said, the statements, it's difficult at this time for the countries and the leaders. Unfortunately, citizens many times are victims of the policies and the approaches of their leaders. And all I can say is that when there is a problem on our side of the border, we try to resolve it for our people to the best of our ability. But when it comes to involving another country, when there is no goodwill on the other side of the border, there is not much we can do. Can we take one last question?
Let's balance, the sides. There is someone over there from Museki.
minsi ishize komisiyo y'igihugu yo kurwanya jenoside yasohoye urutonde rw'abafaransa 22 bagize uruhare runini cyangwa rutoya muri jenoside yakorewe abatutsi. Nkibaza ntese muzatera intambwe yo kuba mwashyiraho parasitowanansi zabafata ubufaransa bwafata cyangwa ibindi bihugu cyangwa byari kugira ngo basubize kwa nabo bari batatse banyuze muri justice. Murakoze.
Thank you very much, Minister. My name is Clement for Reuters. I want to ask about DRC. We saw recently political dialogue which was concluded, but even if the opposition was not happy, and we saw the subsequent Luanda summit. Do you see that as enough to stop the looming crisis? And maybe with that, we saw President Kagame not going to that summit. And some people even in DRC were saying that's something like a snub to Kabila. Did he discuss anything with his counterpart in Brazil? Thanks.
Murakoze, nitwa Eric Mukwakutonta. Nagira ngo babaze gahunda yo gufungura ambasade aho igeze mu bihugu bitandukanye kuko u Rwanda rugenda rwagura umubano n'ibindi bihugu. Murakoze.
So on the 22 military officers, French military officers that whose names were revealed by the National Commission to Fight Genocide. Iyo umuntu kugira ngo umuntu atange impapuro zifata umuntu nuko haba hari ibindi byabanjirije. Ntabwo upfa guhaguruka gufata umuntu, ugomba gukora iperereza, ugomba kumuha umwanya wo kwisobanura, kuvuga icyo atekereza ku byo umurega. Ntabwo rero navuga ko kuba amazina 22 y'abasirikare b'Abafaransa komisiyo irwanya jenoside yagaragaje ko bafite uruhare. Iriya ni inzira igitangira, ariko ni inzira ifite ahandi inyura mbere y'uko umuntu yavuga impapuro zifata umuntu. Ariko icyo bisobanura ni uko ari mu nzego za gisirikare z'Ubufaransa, ari mu nzego za politike nk'uko nabivuze mu kanya mu rurimi rw'Icyongereza. Hari abantu no ku nzego z'ubuyobozi ndetse n'inzego zo hejuru hagaragara ibimenyetso by'uko bagize uruhare muri jenoside yabereye muri iki gihugu. Ayo mazina rero n'ay'abanyapolitike nayo ari hafi, ari mu nzira. Ndumva komisiyo yarasobanuye yuko ibanziriza kuri bamwe hagakurikiraho abandi. Ubwo ni ukuvuga yuko iperereza kuri abo bantu bikwiye mu by'ukuri gutangira kugira ngo bizabashe kugera ku mpapuro zifata abantu. Bisaba yuko keretse ushatse kuba nk'umucamanza Brigadier niwe wabyutse afunga amaso ahitamo amazina y'abantu arega yuko bagushije indege. Ariko ubundi mu mikorere myiza y'ubucamanza umuntu urabanza ukamukoraho iperereza, ukabimumenyesha, ukamuha umwanya wo kukubwira amakuru afite, hanyuma izindi nzego z'ubutabera nazo zigakurikiraho. The dialogue in DRC, one, from the point of view of Rwanda and this government, the political decisions that will be made by the Congolese people are decisions we will have to, and we will be happy to respect. We hope that different political forces and the citizens of the DRC will come to a common understanding as to how their country should be led. These are very sovereign decisions that no country, no matter how close or you know how linked the country is with the DRC, can make. These are decisions for us that have to be made by the leadership and the people of the DRC, political parties, citizens, and so forth. So we look forward to a common understanding, which will, I think, generate a political system and a way forward that the people of the DRC are happy with. What we think as Rwanda that is absolutely critical in this exercise is that the stability of our country and the stability of the region be preserved. Otherwise, we've been following closely. The politics of the DRC are primarily a matter for political players in the DRC to decide on, but we wish our brothers and sisters in the DRC, we wish them well. We hope through this dialogue or perhaps an adjustment of this dialogue when they think it's necessary will allow the country to move forward without any crisis. Did the president of this country discuss with his counterpart in Brazzaville? Yes, of course. When the president was visiting Brazzaville recently, they talked about both economic and political ties of Rwanda and the Republic of Congo, Brazzaville, but also of regional security and stability. And, you know, as I said, to wish that the political forces in the DRC will reach a settlement that satisfies the majority of the people, and that we all keep a close watch over our neighbor and make sure that everything goes well. Ibijyanye no gufungura za ambasade z'u Rwanda hirya no hino ku isi, icyo gikorwa kirakomeza. Twagiye tubibagaragariza mu biganiro n'abanyamakuru ndetse n'ibindi biganiro. Wenda igishyashya nababwira nuko mu ruzinduko nyakubahwa perezida wa repubulika yakoreye mu gihugu cya Mozambique muri ibi byumweru bibiri bishize, mu biganiro bihuza ibihugu byombi twemeranije yuko u Rwanda rugiye gufungura consulat general consulate mu mujyi wa Maputo mu gihugu cya Mozambique. General consulate ni nka ambasade ariko cyane cyane ireba ibijyanye n'ishoramari n'ubucuruzi, ariko ni igikorwa twabonye ko ari cyiza. Nyakubahwa perezida wa repubulika yabyemereye mugenzi we. Mu bikorwa byinshi twemeranije tugiye gukorana n'igihugu cya Mozambique mu bufatanye cyane cyane mu rwego rw'ubuhinzi, mu gusangira experience mu nzego zitandukanye. Harimo rero yuko twifuza yuko u Rwanda rwagira aho rubarizwa mu gihugu cya Mozambique. Ubwo rero abakozi bazakora muri iyo konsula n'uyikuriye muzabimenya vuba, tuzabishyira mu itangazamakuru. Murakoze.
Murakoze, Minisitiri.